Hello everyone, welcome to Nareen Sai with MS. This is Nareen and it's time for Thoughtful Thursdays. And this Thoughtful Thursday, I did want to comment on something amazing that happened yesterday, which was that it rained for the first time in Bangalore in what felt like forever because the last, I want to say, 1.5 months have been awful, right? The weather was really hot, the sun was really strong, and almost on almost any day that I was, leaving the house to go to the office, first I would pretty much leave the bath tired because it was so hot that despite bathing with cold water, I would still feel warm. I would still already be on the cusp of overheating. And then on top of that, would almost burn my hands because of the little banister outside my house that would take me from the patio all the way down to the ground was metal, and the sun directly hit it. And apart from that, there was little to no respite except for, having and being in an air conditioned space, which of course is not the healthiest of things, right? I mean, the dry air just essentially made me feel a lot worse. And definitely, I felt, a little sicker every time I would keep, my air conditioner on for extended periods of time. But of course, all of that made me realize that as in terms of where I am staying, and honestly, if you think about the fact that I'm in Bangalore in India, this probably has the best weather. And despite that, I would not call the weather that we experienced for the past month and a half being anything that that Bangalore was known for before. And it is something that is very concerning, especially considering that Bangalore is probably one of the fastest growing cities in India. And of course, part of the growth comes massive deforestation, comes massive development, overdevelopment, in fact, of places that, previously used to be lakes, forests, anything else where, and it would essentially end up being, places that would actually regulate the temperature of the city. And considering that all of that has been replaced with corporate tech parks, IT hubs, anything that, you know, where they pretty much say the word park, but it essentially end up showing it as, more of concrete labyrinth for that matter. And expect everyone to be happy at the fact that yes, there are more jobs, but at the same time there is a major impact to our health, considering that all of these new tech parks are pretty much removing vegetation, removing trees, removing anything that would allow this place to have the weather that it has been known for years. And it really sends me in a panic, especially thinking that you know when I came here, I want to say 11 years ago, the weather was such that I would not need the air conditioner ever for like 365 days a year. And then now, when I think about it, in the past month and a half, I have probably used the air conditioner at least 20 days, which means half the days that I was here, the the temperature in my room was so uncomfortable that I literally needed to turn the air conditioner on. So that kind of scares me, because here, when we are looking at the fact that there are lots of places that have experienced this kind of problem, experience you know large amounts of pollution, huge impacts to climate change, and then have reversed it through by actually stopping and saying that we need to reverse a lot of the damage that we have caused on this world, are actually showing positive impacts. And now it really makes me question, it makes me pause and think that if we are right now progressing towards an ultra urban area, an ultra urbanized community, right? When will come the time that we put on those brakes and say, now we have to break everything down, now we have to go back to living, go back to having green spaces, go back to having um, you know creating those green areas, those green spaces that can actually promote healthier living. Because one of the things that we refuse to accept is that this this very fast paced urbanization will result in not only more people moving to urban centers and then causing a lot more people to be stuffed into much smaller spaces, but it will also cause uh, a reduction in, it will definitely impact our health. And sure, with growth of infrastructure, there might be more hospitals, but along with more hospitals there will be higher costs of receiving that medical care, and essentially it is just going to be a huge spiral which will result in much worse conditions for us, right? When I am looking at where we are at right now, we still have not hit the what I want to call the red zones, right? We are not hitting um, you know places where um, you know the pollution was so high that you could not see your hand in front of your face, for that matter. But we're also not very far off, and it's a little concerning to me that that it won't be too far away that we get to that point. It won't be too far away that people will be forced to leave their house, their community, their towns, their cities, even their country for that matter, because they need to find a healthier place. And when I think about all of this, I realize that apart from the fact that it's going to impact our health in the acute sense, right? That there are going to be people who are going to be sicker, there are going to be populations who are going to be sicker. It is also going to impact us as, a people, because there aren't going to be healthy versions of us that are living. And the reversing the damage that we have caused to us as people is going to take a lot longer for us to reverse than it is to break down these buildings, to plant more trees, to do all of that. So the one thing that I have been thinking of while rejoicing the fact that it finally rained, the fact that I do not have to turn on my air conditioner tonight, is the fact that, unless we make some sweeping changes to how we want to live here, how we want to pretty much carry our livelihood here, we will need to really change a lot of things about ourselves. So I know this is a pretty this is a pretty dark topic that I talked about, but I think it is important that we do a reality check, right? Like I have done reality checks with myself, with my own body. I also want to make put a huge reality check on, as a society, are we heading in the right direction if the future will only involve worse weather, worse health, and a negative impact on us as people? So yes, please do share your thoughts, please do share your insights, please do give your experiences, so that we can get a conversation started on what are some things that sure, we probably can't stop the builders from building, we can't stop people from buying new houses, or people from moving here to look for a better life. We can't stop all of that, but what can we do ourselves that can at least ensure that if not just the whole population, but at least at least ensuring that our health, and maybe the health of at least one other person, does not end up spiraling downwards or going downhill in the future, looking at all of these things that are happening. So yes, please do share that. I know this is a little on the darker side, and but I did want to have one of these days to actually talk about this, to actually mention that while yes, this is not a direct connection to MS, it definitely is something that might result in, or might be might be correlated to other issues, other diseases, other problems that do arise in our population in the future. So with that said, please do share your thoughts, your comments, your insights, your experiences, so that we can get a conversation started. But more so than that, here is me, Nareen Zaifat MS. I am Nareen, and here I am wishing you a good night, sweet dreams, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And of course, knowing that it is going to be a long weekend for us, considering tomorrow is May Day, a happy long weekend to everyone. And of course, considering that tomorrow is Friday, we will finally be having another Friday findings. So, yes, see you tomorrow. Bye.